Here's the reason why I'm really excited for tonight's Money School preview event is because everything we're going to talk about is so effing timeless. Excuse my language. I might swear tonight. So, remember earmuffs. If you need the earmuffs, put them on because I'm going to get into this because the world and the country are pretty messed up right now. But the biggest thing with this whole thing that's going on, and you see it every single day, you see it in the news, you see it in the headlines, you see it on social media. There's a lot of issues. And I can tell you with utmost certainty, I know what's coming. I can't tell you when it's coming, but I can tell you what is coming. And when it does, you're definitely going to want to be on the right side of that. So I want you to think of this. You being here tonight makes you part of the 5% because the other 95% are not on here. And that just so happens to tie into what Social Security says about retirement. Social Security says that if you take 100 people, only five of them are going to be financially successful at the age of retirement. Think about that. You take 100 people and only 5 are going to be financially successful at the age of retirement. Only one of those 5 are going to be wealthy. But where is the problem? This is the United States of America. People come here for opportunity. This is the land of opportunity. Sure doesn't look that way out there right now, but it is. And that opportunity is ours to take if we know how to take it. And the first thing that everybody needs to do to be part of that 5% is, number one, you have to do what you did. Because the biggest difference between all of you on here tonight, the 5%, and the other 95% is you were willing to invest your time to be here, your energy to be here to learn something new, and we will deliver. We will teach you something. And we've got another preview tomorrow. If you want to join, we're going to teach you even more. And then we're going to go right into a 3-day event this weekend where we're going to blow the roof off this MFR. Yeah, I did say that because this is the time when we need to get prepared for what's coming. This is the time when we need to take back control of our money. And this is the time when we need to get ready for the biggest opportunity of all of your lives, our lives as well, because it's right around the corner. And a thing or two about opportunity is when you miss an opportunity, it doesn't reappear. It doesn't just come back and be like, oh, hey, I noticed you were sleeping, but I'm back. Here's the opportunity for the second, third, fourth, fifth time. No, it knocks once. And if you don't answer, it's gone to the next person. You've seen this happen your entire life. You've had other people stop you from making decisions that could have been the opportunity of a lifetime. Think about it. How many opportunities in your life have come and gone because of fear? Because of somebody else telling you that that's stupid, that's not a good idea, you shouldn't do that. How many? Start writing it down. Grab a pen and paper right now and write down how many opportunities have you missed in your lifetime that could have changed the entire outcome of your financial future. How many? Because I know myself, it's a lot. It's too many. And we can live in the past or we can live in the future, but we need to live in the now. Right now is the only thing that matters. And what you do right now with your money, with your decisions, and with your mindset is what matters. And that's what we're going to get into. But we're going to get tactical. We're going to get down in the weeds and show you how to do things that you don't know how to do now. The biggest thing I can't fix and Stephen can't fix and no one on my team can fix is a broken mindset. So the things we're going to talk to you about today are going to be different than the things you've learned from the banks, from Wall Street, from your advisors. This is going to be some out-of-the-box thinking. And this out-of-the-box thinking is going to be difficult for you to apply in your life simply for one reason only. Not that it's complicated, but because it's the complete opposite of everything you've been told your whole life. Because your whole life, you've been lied to. I'm sorry, Stephen and me, we were financial advisors. We were at high levels in that business. We know the big lie. We know what we did while we were advisors, what we were taught to do, the red rosy colored glasses that we wore every single day. And I'll tell you something, when you take those glasses off, when I retired from that world and I started to see what really was going on, and I started to follow around the wealthy, the multimillionaires and the billionaires, I started to really, really see what I was missing. It took me a long time, folks. It doesn't need to take you as long. It doesn't need to take you all the failures that I've had to go through in my life for you to get back on the right track. It just takes you changing maybe just one thing in your life. One step that you need to add to your life will change it all. And we're going to hit that today. So Stephen, my sidekick, my right-hand man, here he is. Stephen, tell him a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey guys, I'm Stephen Nagy, and been in the entrepreneurial business world since I got out of college as a financial advisor for a couple of years with Ameriprise Financial, and kind of learned about entrepreneurship from there. Actually, one of the first books that I ever read was this book right here called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by a guy named Robert Kiyosaki. So Robert Kiyosaki has the name around the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series, right? Everybody's heard of Robert Kiyosaki. What a lot of people don't realize is the brains behind the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book series. And the brains behind that series really is a lady that you see at the bottom here, Sharon Lechter. So as Chris just said, we were out at an event out in California, a couple of events all last week. And from really learning about financial education and that your mindset powers everything else in your life. And there's so much better stuff out there than working a 9-to-5 job and investing in a 401k and listening to what a financial advisor tells you. There's so much better ways to live life out there than go through that racket, right? And Chris just said it. The Social Security Administration tells us only 5% of people are going to be able to retire the way that they want to. And in the real world, I thought it was less than that, meeting with people as a financial advisor and over the last 14 years being in this industry. But I got to spend last week hanging out all week with Sharon Lechter. So from reading the book that changed it all for me to being able to hang out with her all last week, have dinner with her, have lunch with her, it's an amazing thing how it all kind of full circle and comes back. And being in a room full of multimillionaires and billionaires last week, the one thing I learned, they're all very humble. There's no secret to success. You learn something that other people don't know about. You do what other people are not willing to do. And every single one of them will tell you, they sat up there and we talked to them the entire week. They told you the same thing. It's all about who you know. It's all about those connections that you make in life. It's all about learning and doing what other people aren't willing to do. And that's what creates success in this country, in this world. So that's what Money School is really all about. And we'll get into a little bit more. What is Money School? What is Money Multiplier? What is infinite banking? What is private real estate investing and all that stuff, right? But we're going to get into that with you tonight. We're going to start teaching you these strategies. We're going to teach you how to take money you didn't even know existed and put it to work for you. We're going to teach you how to go out there and do things different than anybody else. And I can promise you this, if you have an open mind and you're willing to learn something new tonight, it will change your financial future forever. I guarantee that. Okay. So pay close attention, ask questions. So just a couple little housekeeping items I wanted to get out of the way. We're going to ask you to interact with us. It's the only way that we know that you're following. Now, something happened with Zoom. It looks like everybody is Tyler Yeager on here right now. So the first thing, if you can go in and you can figure out a way to change your name, I believe if you go to participants, you can click on the little 3 buttons there. It'll let you rename yourself. So if everybody can rename themselves real quick, we'll know exactly who we're talking to. Okay. Just so you guys know, Tyler is our marketing genius. I don't know what happened. That's technology for you in 2021. No big deal. Just go rename yourselves. So we're going to ask you to interact with us. We want to know who you are. You're not Tyler. So respond in the chat box as we ask questions and have you interact. Any questions that you have, we will answer any and all questions throughout the night. We'll either type it in for you or we'll answer it live. But put the questions in the Q&A box. So we're going to use the chat for comments and chatting. We're going to use the Q&A box for question and answer. Fair enough. Other than that, we're going to have a great time tonight. If you guys need anything, like Chris mentioned, we have amazing training coming up. This is a preview that leads into this weekend's training event. So really looking forward to getting to know everybody and helping you guys take it to the next level.
It's so awesome that, I'm so humbled that everybody that's on here is Tyler. Actually, here we go. Now we got some names coming in. So you just got to go in to the panelist, or I'm sorry, the participants, and you just click more and you just rename yourself and that'll do it. Zoom, and we just heard about this weekend, is going through a lot of changes and some bugs are happening to Zoom. Now, I know one person, George, said that he couldn't hear us. Can every one of you hear us? Okay, because that's going to be pretty important that you can hear us and see us. Yes. Okay. So we got that. You can hear us, you can see us. So if anyone can't hear us, if you're having audio problems, this happens often on Zoom, log out and log back in on a different browser. Sometimes the browser matters, but that's just some housekeeping. So listen, I'm so excited for tonight. Obviously you can see I'm a little jazzed up and I haven't even had any coffee since this morning. I'm jazzed up because I know all of you need what we're going to teach you today. And we're going to get out as much as we can in an hour and a half. The rest of it is going to flow over to our event that we're doing this weekend. We're doing a 3-day training this weekend. All of you should be attending that. It is a no-brainer. You get so much stuff just for signing up that I don't know why you wouldn't just sign up. And heck, some of you probably won't even show up and just be like, I just wanted the free goodies they give away. But it is 3 days with some of the most insane speakers that are going to be teaching you, and it's all money centric. For those of you that don't want to pay taxes, how many of you, I want you guys to raise your hand or hit me in the chat. How many of you would love it if you knew a way not to have to pay taxes on most of the money you make? How many of you would like that? Say I. And it could be AYE or I. I want to hear that. How many of you would like to know why Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and the Clintons, and I mean, you could go through the whole thing. Why do they not pay the same taxes you do? Do you think they're breaking the law? They're doing something illegal, or do they know something you don't know? Well, we have a speaker coming on Saturday, the last one Saturday. So make sure you block off some extra time for this weekend. And he is literally going to tell you what I think is one of the biggest tax hacks out there. And it's not even a hack. It's in the tax code. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. You're the only one that doesn't know about it. And I'm gonna include myself in there, because until I heard him explain what this was, the 1041 tax reporting, I knew nothing about it. But I always knew that the wealthy knew something different than me, because they never seemed to pay any taxes. So we're gonna show you that, but you gotta be present. You gotta be at the event. I can't help you if you don't show up to the game. You're the 5%ers now, but come this weekend, you got to decide, are you going to stay the 5% or are you going to be the 95%? Get the mindset right. Show up. Oh, you got something going on. There's a Bills game. Yes, I know how that is. You can't make it this weekend because of prior commitments. Oh, darn, can't make it. That's an excuse. We record the whole weekend. You might only want to see 1 or 2 of the speakers, and that's well worth what it costs to come to the event. Sign up and we'll send you the recording for all of it, fully edited and very easy to watch. So we'll get that right out of the way. The wealthy know things that you don't know, but it doesn't mean they have to be a secret. Today, we cracked the code. Stephen, bring up the slides. Let's dive right into this thing.
All right, perfect. So like we mentioned, this is the virtual preview leading into this 3-day weekend. So one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, though, is what we teach you tonight, tomorrow night, and Wednesday is not going to be covered at all during the 3 days. So we do have limited time during those 3 days because we bring in so many experts and so many speakers. So we don't have time to cover it all. So what we teach you today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, pay close attention, because you're not going to hear this stuff again at any other point in our trainings. So just real quick, like I mentioned before, I live down in South Florida in northern Palm Beach County. If anybody's familiar, in Jupiter, Florida, with my wife. I have a son that just turned 6 years old. I've spoken on thousands of stages to thousands of individuals around the country, around the United States, in 47 states, as well as Mexico and Canada. So I've been around this industry for almost 15 years now, started out on the real estate investing side and just absolutely loved the education and coaching side of the business. So over the years, have done all different types of real estate deals, have learned all different types of investments, and coming from the financial planning background as a fully licensed financial advisor, I can really see both sides of the fence. What's the difference in your traditional investments? What's the difference in alternative investments that we're going to talk about this evening? Things like real estate investing, things like cryptocurrency investing, things like Chris mentioned, saving money in taxes. I mean, who doesn't want to save money in taxes, right? So that's everything that we're going to go over here this evening. So what is Money School and why are you here? All right. So Chris gave a pretty good explanation a minute ago, but the way that I like to look at Money School, it's everything that you're not taught in high school and college. Okay. High school and college is going to teach you how to go out there and get a job, how to be an expert in a field, how to be a lawyer, how to be a doctor, maybe take some kind of, administration classes, things like that. Right. But nobody teaches you how to file a 1041 tax exchange. Nobody teaches you how to do private lending. Nobody teaches you about self-directed IRAs. Nobody teaches you about infinite banking concept. And the number one thing that I hear all day, every day is, I wish I would have learned this in my 20s. I wish I would have started investing this way when I was 20 years old. How can I teach my kids to do this? That's the number one thing I hear over and over and over again. So if I'm hearing that all day long, how many of you want to learn those kind of techniques? How many of you want to learn those kinds of strategies? How many of you want to be the next person that's on the phone with me going, holy shit, I wish I would have learned this 20 years ago, right? So that's what this is all about. I mean, and Money School incorporates everything from again, it's everything you've never been taught. So real estate investing, crypto investing. Chris, what am I missing out on here? I mean, flipping land. We have so many different ways to make money. And it all boils down to one thing: multiple streams of income. Okay. Because how many of you had a job last year in 2020 and in no fault of your own, that job is now gone or drastically changed? Because what? There was a global pandemic. Nobody could have predicted that. Nobody knew it was happening. It's no fault of your own, but boom, you're out of business, right? You don't have any work now. Your salary's gone. Well, what if a few years back, you would have learned what we're teaching you here right now, and you would have made a couple investments? What if you would have created a couple of extra additional streams of income? So now if you lose one of your income streams, you have three others that are still paying you. So you're not hurting financially. You're still taking care of your family. You're not worried about it, right? How many of you would like to have a lower stress level? I can tell you one thing. I was in a room last week, like I mentioned, in a room with 300 multimillionaire and billionaires. Legitimately, that's not exaggerating at all. 300 of them, right? Guess how much stress was in that room last week? I didn't feel it. Chris, did you feel any stress last week?
Nope.
I can tell you one thing: the smile that these people had on their faces, hanging at the bar, having dinner. We had a soiree that we did. I still can't pronounce that word right, but it was like a little, like a ballroom gala thing that we did. Everybody was happy. No problems, flying in on private jets. That's the way to live life. Because let me ask this: do you get a second chance in life? Maybe you can. Maybe you can start over. But guess what? When you get to a point one day in your life when you graduate, and what do we mean by graduate? When you pass away, right? And you move on to whatever's next, the afterlife, to heaven, right? Whatever happens. Do you get to come back and do it again? No. There's no do-overs. There's no dress rehearsals. This is one life you got to live, and you got to make everything you can of it. So that's, to me, what Money School is. And I'll challenge every one of you that goes through our Money School training. And if you do this at the end of Sunday or on Monday, you send me an email to what Money School now means to you, I'll send you a book. I got a stack of books back here. I'm going to send every one of you a book that sends me an email. I want to challenge every single one of you to that. Tell me what Money School now means to you after going through the 3-day training. What's Money School to you, Chris?
Money School to me is cracking the code to what the wealthy do with money. And, building wealth for each of you is going to be different. Your path is all different. There's not one of you that is the same. Some of you are real estate investors. Some of you work a W-2 job and you love it. You're just looking to say, how do I pay less in taxes? How do I make my money work for me a little bit? You know what I think Money School is? Money School is the answer or the pathway to you being back in control of your money and to you learning how to mimic what the wealthy do with money and everything surrounded around money so that you can then apply that in your life. That's what it is to me. It is the gateway to crack the code.
Love it, man. Love it. So this is one of the things when I first met Chris, there's a couple things that really drew me to him. But one of the things I saw, he had this quote up: it's never about your actual resources. It's about how resourceful you can be. And just read that again real fast and truly think about it, because what does this really mean? How many of you on this call right now came from money? Meaning let's say your parents were millionaires. Is there anybody, just say I if there was, it doesn't matter. I'm just curious. How many Tylers out there came from a millionaire family? Nobody? Perfect. Because you're now in the same exact position that myself and Chris started out. Okay. Chris can tell you a little bit about his story in just a second. I came from a broken family. My mom was on food stamps and support and all that. And thank God those things were in place and we were able to have a childhood and all that. And I'm sure people come from much worse positions than me, but so much of it has to do with mindset, and so much has to do with believing in yourself and knowing that there's something better out there. But more than that, more than the mindset is, let's get real, right? Money does not grow on trees as much as we want to pretend it does, but money is also not hard. Once you understand how money works, the sky's the limit. Once you understand that, hey, if I can learn a skill like how to buy a home, add some value to it, sell it, and make $50,000 on that deal, somebody's going to give me the money to do that. I just need to know how to ask for it. I need to know who to go to. I need to know how to present that to them. I need to understand how to get that deal done, right? And that's what we're going to teach you starting right now tonight, going through the 3-day training coming up this weekend, is exactly once you realize that money's everywhere and how to get it, you're going to have no more problems. Because let me ask this: how many of you have ever had $1 million idea? Have any of you ever been in the shower singing or something like that, and you thought to yourself, holy shit, I just came up with the next Shark Tank idea, or I just came up with the next, but then what happens? You get out of the shower and you forget about it. Or you wake up the next day and all of a sudden your alarm clock's going off and your kid is sick and your boss is telling you, get your ass to work, and you're not feeling good and your car breaks down or your dog's throwing up and pooping all over the house, or right, whatever happens, right? Life gets in the way. So all of a sudden, 3 years later, you see that exact same idea come to fruition, and you see somebody else out there with a successful business making millions of dollars, and you're thinking to yourself, holy shit, I had that idea 3 years ago. How many did that ever happen? Or maybe you tried to pursue the idea, but you ran into the issue of, oh, well, I can't do it because I don't have millions of dollars to start a company, or I don't have the education to go out there. Guys, I dropped out of college. Like, I don't even have a college degree, and I've been able to do all this stuff. Like, and so many people I talked to over last week were in such similar positions. It's just really reinforced over the last 14 years of everything that I've done. Like, I'm on the right track. Like, when I get to a certain point and my goals are met, then I can do whatever I want in life. And that's a beautiful thing. So it's never about your actual resources. It's about how resourceful you can be. And I just absolutely love, Chris, that was your number one quote right there.
Yeah, and it's funny because that quote isn't just a quote. That quote was my life. I never had money. So everything that I wanted was always about how resourceful can I get? Yes, did my mom throw me a bone? She put her 700 square foot, 2-bedroom house on the line so her punk 17-year-old snowboard kid could chase his dream and open a snowboard shop. It was a dumb thing for mom to do, but that's the big bone I was given in my life. But that bone, my mom putting her house on the line so that I could get an SBA-backed loan, didn't come without consequences. Think about that. I'm 17. I'm venturing off into the world of opening a retail store, okay, selling skateboards, clothing, and snowboards. A thing that in 1994 wasn't as popular as it is today. Definitely wasn't widestream, media. Definitely wasn't the thing you see on every station, every commercial, and X Games and the Olympics. None of that existed. We were the outcast. And here I ventured into that, and I put my mom's house on the line. Do you think there was an option of failure there? Absolutely not. There were nights where I was in the back room laying on the cardboard from the shipments that just came in, crying because I didn't know how I was going to make it to the next day. I didn't know how I was going to pay rent. I didn't know how I'd make payroll. Too many of those nights happened. But every day you get up and you fight the fight and you move forward and you do what everybody else is unwilling to do, while people are comfortably sitting in front of their game, watching football, drinking a beer, out there doing whatever they are, going to bed early, getting up, like just living a normal life. I wanted more. And all of you should want more. Actually, you know what? How many of you have ever wanted more? Say more right now. I can't get you to scream like I can from stage, but I can get you to think about it. You don't just want more, folks. Say it. Say more. You need more. And right now, more than ever, in almost all of your lives, unless any of you lived through the Great Depression, you need more right now. You need more knowledge to know how to navigate what's coming. Now, let me put it to you this way, and then we're going to get into some tactical stuff. This is how important this is. This is how important it is for all of you on here. I want you to imagine, I live in Buffalo, New York. I don't care where you live. I want you to imagine a big storm. If you're, a coastal states, I want you to imagine the worst hurricane that's ever hit your coast. If you're in a place like Buffalo, I want you to imagine the worst blizzard ever going to hit, whatever. I just want you to think of a storm, and it hits the news. You have 12 hours. There's going to be this storm that's going to be hitting. You have to take action. You have to prepare, and you have to get ready. What do? Well, most of you get your ass up and you rush out just like everybody else because they waited to the last minute. You rush out to get all the stuff prepared, and it's not going to be fun. It's going to be stressful. Some people just ignore it and they just say, it's just going to blow over us. It's not going to be a big deal. I'll be fine. Those are the ones that never end up making it because they fail to acknowledge that there's a storm coming. But the people that are rushing around scrambling are a little late. But then there's some people that had been watching it and studying the patterns that saw we might be in for a big storm. This looks like this is going to turn into a class 5, or this looks like this storm is going to turn into like the blizzard that rivals 1977 here in Buffalo. You know a storm is coming, folks. Don't kid yourself. Don't even for 1 second even let your mind think that there isn't a storm coming. Look around. Wake up. Like there's something coming. It doesn't look good. And I'll tell you what's coming. Whether you believe me or not, whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. The storm might be a year away, might be 6 months away. It might be 2 years or 3 years away. It doesn't matter, folks. It all points to the same damn direction. And that direction is devastation of the markets. The stock market, as you know it today, that everybody thinks is going to go to the moon, is not going to go to the moon. It is going to crash and burn at a level that you can't even comprehend unless you understand and study the Great Depression, because that's what you're in for. That's the magnitude of what's coming. And you don't want to believe me because you don't know how to believe me. It's so big and bad that you're just like, oh, you're just going to bury your head in the sand and just hope it blows over. Well, did you bury your head in the sand in 2008? What happened? Chances are you lost it all. Did you bury your head in the sand in the COVID crash, right? That went down 35%. What happened? Your market or your stocks and your 401k fell 35%. And how long did it take you to get that 35% back? I'll tell you, it took the market to rally above 60% just for you to make back the 35% you lost. It's called the drawdown effect. It's why when people look at their 401k statement and say, honey, look at the market right there. Look at the screen. Look at the news. It says the market's at the highest point ever, but our 401k seems to be a little bit shy of where it was before COVID. Why? How can that be, honey? Are we in the wrong investments? No, not at all. You just don't understand math because the drawdown effect is real. And when you lose 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%, the recovery of that is a decade in most cases. 2008 proved that, but people have forgotten about 08. Most people don't even remember what happened in 2008. They just think that there was this thing. It was like the Great Recession and, banks failed and a couple companies failed, but hey, I'm here. Everything's good. No, back then people were jumping out of windows. People's lives were being devastated. Their houses were being taken away. Their kids weren't going to private school anymore. They couldn't afford the cars that were in the driveway. It wasn't good, but somehow we forget what happened. This has been the longest bull run in history, folks, the longest one. And the longer something goes good, the bigger the bad. And folks, I hate to bring it to you, but that's what you got to prepare for. That's the storm. That's the hurricane on the horizon. That's the blizzard on the horizon. This is reality. And unless you get ready and prepare for it, and also prepare for what the government's been doing to kind of take back all the money that you make through taxes, inflation, and everything else, you're done. I can't help you. Stephen can't help you if you wait and see what's going to happen. Oh, we're just going to wait and see. People all the time in the markets, they're like, well, why would I get out of the market now? I'm just going to wait. And then, when it looks like it's going to go down, I'll get out. Game over. The market goes down twice as fast as it goes up. And the first fall will be the worst fall. Mark my words. You don't believe me now? You'll be coming later saying, boy, I should have, I could have, I would have. I feel like it is my mission, my duty to all of you and everybody else to teach you what to do to prepare for this. Because here's the thing. If this is real and this is going to happen, which it is, you preparing means that this event, good, bad, or indifferent, will be the single biggest opportunity of your lifetime. Opportunity. It's a beautiful word. It will be your biggest opportunity because when everybody else is losing, Warren Buffett says it best, right? When others are fearful, you need to be greedy. But when others are greedy, you need to be fearful. Why is it that Warren Buffett isn't buying anything right now? Why is it that if you look and dig a little bit, you will see that Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, Ray Dalio, and all those guys are unloading massive parts of their portfolio? Well, what are you doing? You're buying because your advisor's telling you, keep buying, keep putting money in the market, because that's how they make money, folks. Keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. The news stations, if you still watch the news, buy, buy, buy. The markets are never going to go down. They're going to just go to the moon. Read one book, one YouTube video about 1926 to 1929, and you will see that the exact same thing happened then. And unfortunately, it just didn't go to the moon. It's our obligation to all of you tonight to teach you at least a little bit tonight and a little bit tomorrow and a whole lot this weekend, how to prepare for the storm on the horizon. I'm sorry I went long. I'm sorry I got loud, but that's how passionate I am about this, because I can't let you go down like that. Because if I know something that's coming, if I had the cure for cancer, I would have to tell you about it. Even if I made nothing doing it, I would feel like I had to tell you about it. Unfortunately, there probably is a cure for cancer that you'll never know about because it's not good for somebody's pocketbook or for Pfizer's profits or somebody else's profits. That's the world we live in. Rise above that and start taking care of yourself and your family, because that's really all that matters to start. Then after you take care of you and your family, let's take care of everybody else and show them that I am the one with the light in the darkness. Follow me and I'll show you through this. All of you are the 5%. You know what the 95% are going to do? Bury their head in the sand like they always do. Oh, it'll just blow over. They will miss every opportunity every day of their life. You will not. Let's talk. Look at this slide. It goes right into this. That was not planned, folks.
And I love it, Chris, because I mean, how many of you would love to learn this week how to protect your money and avoid the impending crash that's coming, right? And more importantly than that, I just saw somebody wrote the Great Depression is when my husband's grandparents made their fortune. Wish they had shared their financial knowledge, but we have MSTV. So the point there, though, is not only how many of you would like to survive this impending massive change we're going to see in this country and crash and collapse. It's coming. Everyone's consensus with that. It's just a matter of when, right? And how bad it's going to be. But not only survive it, how many of you would like to thrive? How many of you would love to be like her husband's grandparents that go out there and become millionaires? Because this is your opportunity. Yeah, I love it. I mean, this is your opportunities everywhere in this world, right? We live in the most prosperous and opportunistic time in history, living in the greatest country in the world, in the United States, right? However, why are you not already a millionaire? Why are you not already hitting the goals that you want to hit? Why are you not already at that success level that you want, right? It's because maybe just you haven't learned the one little thing yet, or you haven't had that one opportunity that's you've been prepared for. Because there's opportunities everywhere, but if you don't understand it, it's going to go right by you. If you understand it, but you're not prepared, it's going to pass right by you. So a lot more things can go wrong, it can go right. But when you get all that lined up perfectly, that's when your magic happens. That's when you're going to have a lot of fun in life. So that's what we're doing. And that's what our mission is to prepare every single one of you, not only to survive, but thrive, because these opportunities are coming. If I told you, Chris, you could share some actual numbers, but if we told you how much we were buying homes for in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, when we had the last real estate bubble collapse, and how much we've been selling them for now, leading into the next collapse, that's how you create generational legacy money. And then how many of you would like to learn how to protect that money? How many of you like to put that into a vehicle where that money now never stops compounding, guaranteed every year for the rest of your life, where you're even pulling that money and using it to make more investments and grow more wealth? How many of you would like to learn that? Chris, we got to get into this stuff, man. I'm getting excited just talking about it.
Listen, like, yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, look at this. Let's get this. Like, everybody's ready. Like, let's give them what we're talking about, because there's a lot we can talk about. But, you know, we're going to get a lot of that this weekend. We're going to get in the weeds on a lot of things. But there are really some key things that you need to understand before we can get down in the weeds on whether it's the infinite banking concept, privatized banking, cryptocurrency, or how to just take the equity from your house to use for opportunities without ever creating any debt or any monthly payments. Bet you didn't know that you could extract the equity in your house without ever creating a debt or a monthly payment. But
yeah, we're going to get into that in just a second. Absolutely. Yeah. That's very, very, very important.
So let's get into these three pillars, because this is the foundation that we need to go off of.
Yes, absolutely. So this is what we call the 3 pillars of money school education. And the reason this is from experience, it's from our experience of being ex-financial advisors, being in the entrepreneur space, and what real estate can do for somebody. So just to differentiate, there's a lot of real estate coaches and training programs and ways to learn about real estate investing. Will everybody agree with that? Probably a lot of you have been through them. Chris, I know you've spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars going and learning real estate investing. Myself is exactly the same, right? So we've done every kind of deal, from your wholesales to your wholesales, to your full flips, to your multifamily, to your BRRRR strategy, to buying mobile home parks, right? And everything in between, to flipping land. So real estate, there's lots of different aspects. We are not a real estate education company. If you come to us and say, hey, I want you to coach me on how to start flipping houses or how to start buying rental properties, we're not going to do it. Like, we'll refer you to some of our stud partners and people that we work with, but we're not going to do it. So we concentrate on the money side. We'll teach you how to get all the money you'll ever need for every single deal you ever want to do. We'll teach you how to protect that money, what to do with that money, but we're not going to teach you the how-to. However, why real estate is one of the pillars is because real estate, I honestly believe, is the quickest and easiest and most promised way to create wealth, to create generational wealth, because it does so many different things. If you're dead broke today, go learn how to wholesale and learn sales and you can go out there and make a shitload of money in real estate. If you have money sitting around in a retirement account, or you have money sitting around and you just want to put that money to work, use real estate, do private lending, go out there and buy rental properties, go out there and do vacation ownership and Airbnb. There's so many ways to put that money to work and create passive residual monthly income coming in every single month for the rest of your life. So we can use real estate for all these things. But not only that, but we also, so one of the big things that we do here at Money School is a lot of this stuff is not original, right, Chris? Like, I didn't come up with the idea that real estate's going to make you wealthy. Mm-hmm. We study what wealthy multimillionaire and billionaires do. We study what the banks do. We study what corporations, we just do the exact same thing. We just mimic what they do. And guess what? We study some of the most successful corporations. I'll give you a couple examples real fast. McDonald's, they are not in the business of flipping burgers. They're in the business of real estate. They go out, every McDonald's that you see around the country is sitting in some of the most highly valued pieces of land in the largest cities to the smallest suburbs to the rural areas. There's McDonald's everywhere. And they go out there and they buy the land across the street and on the other side of the road. And then they lease that property to Burger King. They lease that property to Wendy's because they don't care about the competition or making money off flipping burgers. They want to own that real estate and build it out. Banks. Where do you see banks? Where do you see banks around the country? They're the highest skyscrapers in every major city around the country, right? They're the most valuable real estate. They have branch offices on literally every 2 miles, right? I mean, you can't drive through a suburban area without going by 10 Wells Fargos or whatever, right? They buy the real estate. So we just, and we'll talk more about the banks today too, a lot more about the banks because we mimic what the banks do. So real estate is where it's done. You cannot talk to a multimillionaire that does not have a massive real estate holdings in their portfolio. So why not do that? So real estate's going to be one of those pillars, one of those foundations of how you're going to start becoming successful and then how you're going to create and generate more and more wealth for you and your family moving forward. And when you start passing down properties, it takes it to a whole nother level, right? Then money, you have to understand money. And this is where we are very, very unique because we take it beyond just teaching you the real estate aspect in that first pillar, and we teach you how money truly works. And this is where Chris Naugle got his name, America's #1 money mentor, because Chris has this very unique ability of taking a rather complex idea and strategy and making it where literally anybody can understand it. Because that's probably the second most common thing that I hear when I talk to our clients and customers throughout the day is, thank God I found Chris because he teaches this stuff. Like I learned about this stuff 10 years ago, or I learned about this stuff 5 years ago, and I just forgot about it. But as soon as I heard Chris explain it, it blew my mind. Like it all connected and it all made sense. So you spent 3 days with Chris Naugle this weekend. Do you think you might be in a little better position to start taking action on some of these ideas and opportunities out there? Absolutely. So that's what Chris Naugle really brings to the table. Anything you want to add, Chris?
No, everybody's Tyler. So Tyler, one of them are asking, does it make sense to take a loan at 5% to pay toward debt at 3%, which is a great question that I want to do on the board. So before we wrap tonight, whoever that Tyler is, and you can send me your name, I will get that question because that is a very important question that a lot of people right out on the surface would be like, why would I take something that cost me 5 to pay off something that cost me 3? That makes no sense. But mathematically, the thing that a lot of people just kind of glaze over, mathematically, it very well might make sense if you understand how the money aspect of that works, the velocity of it. So we'll hit that question at the end.
Yeah. I mean, how many of you think you can make money paying 5% and earning 3%? I mean, we could show you example after example. And if you guys want to see this, type in the box, show me the money. Type in the box, show me the money.
Show me the money.
If I see enough, show me the monies, I'll have Chris do it on the board. Do you guys want to see it or not?
Absolutely.
Show me the money. Love it. Oh, a couple people have seen it. They know. All right.
And somebody else just hit a question. I'll just get right out of the way. And this is not for everybody, but I will say somebody said 30-year versus 15-year mortgage. Rates have never been this low. And I understand the velocity of money is against you, but just the simplest answer is you'd be better off doing a 30-year mortgage right now, keeping the cash flow in your household and your family for opportunities versus trying to pay extra to pay down a house that you're more than likely never going to pay off because you're going to move, upgrade, refinance, and you're going to lose the game to velocity. Banks have already beat you before you even start the game. Like imagine going into a game that you already beat before you start the game. That's the game you're playing when you're trying to pay your mortgage off. So you need to understand how velocity works and how banks win against you every time. And you need to change that dynamic. And we'll get into that as well.
And that's all understanding money. I mean, it's just understanding how money works, how the banks work, and applying it. That's all it is. It's very simple. It's just stuff you've never been taught before, right?
Absolutely.
And then of course the third pillar of education is very, very important, is legacy. So that's where we start getting into, like you mentioned, tax strategies, asset. I mean, do we live in a sue happy society? Absolutely, right? So how to protect that hard-earned money that you make, how to pass that down to your kids, to your grandkids, and leave something special for them, tax-free, right? So this is all strategies we're going to get into, how to protect that money, how to save more of that money, and how to create something very, very special to pass down. Because I don't know about you, but that's one of my number one goals in life, is to leave my son with a lot more than was left to me in life. So I know, Chris, that's a big thing with you. And your
how many of you, have children and want to leave a legacy, but like leaving a legacy to you means that, oh, I have to spend more money on insurance to be able to leave a life insurance benefit. What if you didn't have to? What if the legacy just came out of the actions you take today, out of the one change that we're going to get into in a little bit? What if that created the legacy? You see, who figured it out the best? The Rockefellers. Whether you like or dislike the Rockefellers, yes, they've done some bad, but they also figured some good out. The Rockefellers have figured out the legacy game better than any other family there is. And they figured the legacy out by just implementing a strategy into their entire financial game, their banking strategy, if you will. And automatically, with just that one thing, it created a legacy generation after generation after generation. Why do the wealthy always get wealthier? Why do they keep getting wealthier when everybody else seems to be losing it or having a hard time just to keep afloat? It's not because they're doing anything different than you. They just understand the game and they know how to play it. They stopped a long time ago working for money and they started having their money work for them, but they also played the legacy game as a piece of what they're doing so that future generations were better off without anyone having to work harder, hustle more, or do anything different, or take on any additional risk. It just was an automated thing. That is the difference. And I'm not saying you have to strive to be like the Rockefellers, but there's a lot we can take from what they did to get where they are. Now, I would hope you would take a different path in what you've done with your wealth than they did, but that's going down the rabbit hole, and we will not. But these are such important things. Real estate, maybe it's your game, maybe it's not. I've been in real estate a long time. Today, it makes the hair on my arms stand up to think about doing a flip. It makes the hair on my arms to stand up just to think about buying another rental. God, I just can't even stand the thought of doing it. But you know what I do love about real estate? I love the fact that there's not just one strategy. I can do any strategy depending on what my needs and goals are and what I like to do. Today, I like to be the bank. Today, I like to own nothing but control everything. And that is what I do with real estate. Money's the pillar of it all. It's the tool, the shovel that's in your garage. When you want the garden, you need the shovel. That's all the money is. We got to have the right tools. And your money has to be the right tool for the job that you have. The job for Tyler is different than the job for Tyler. Just joking. But you get it? No one needs the same tool because nobody has the same goals. So we have to modify the tool to make sure it fits the goals. Legacy, we already covered. Let's dive into this stuff because this stuff is critical and important and it's everything right now. That's all I can say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many of you would love to have a game plan exactly step by step, what you should do first, what you should do second, what you should do third to put yourself on a path to financial success? How many of you would like that? Because that is exactly what we're going to provide to you is a financial game plan. Every one of you attending the 3-day training this weekend, you will leave there with a step-by-step plan, exactly what to do first, exactly what to do second, and exactly what to do third to put yourself in a position to not only survive, but thrive on this incoming opportunity. Like Chris said, I mean, it might not be real estate flipping for you, but creating passive income, creating residual income, getting your money working for you and understanding money is where the importance lies. So that's what we're going to do. So we're halfway through this right now. I just wanted to bring up one time and show you guys a date. So the class is, again, this is a preview event for Money School leading into our foundational class, which is Money School Essentials virtual 3-day training course. The next one that we have is coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So that is this Friday. It starts at is it 10 a.m.? Is that right? 10
10
a.m.
a.m.
10 a.m. Eastern time, all 3 days. And it says 3 p.m. Eastern, but please set your schedule a little bit longer.
Later than that.
We do go long.
Yes,
we have
we
some
do.
bonus sessions. We have some special surprise guests coming in. So we're going to, so plan on staying beyond 3 o'clock Eastern, but we'll keep on going all day with you guys. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and it is interactive. And one more time, it is recorded. So if you can't get out of work Friday or another commitment or something, just watch it that night and be ready for Saturday. Or if you miss one of the days, a couple hours, we will give you the recordings each day. So you'll get those and you'll be able to watch them time and time again. You're also going to get the file vault, all kinds of tools and bonuses and stuff, which I won't even talk about. It's $297. Do you have their link there? Yeah. So Chris just put the link in the chat box. So make sure you get registered and take advantage of everything that we got coming up. So just to show you a few things, we teach so much more than this too. Actually, I haven't even updated this. So this is just a brief glance at some of the things that we're going to go over and start teaching you during the 3 days. So Chris, I know you hit a little bit on the 5% earlier and what the Social Security Administration, do you want to dive into that or get into some hidden equity?
We already hit that. Let's just get into it. Yep. Right here. This is what you're up against. These are the headwinds. I want you to all think of an airplane. You've all flown in an airplane before in your lives, right? I don't care if you're going West Coast to East Coast or East Coast to West Coast. You are up against the elements or natural occurring things in an airplane. It's called a headwind. How many of you have ever been in a plane and all of a sudden the pilot comes on and says, folks, I hope you're having a good time today, blah, 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 but we are facing a strong headwind. So our plane is going to land about 30 minutes late. If you have connecting flights, they don't say this, but good luck is essentially the headwind. Okay. The plane is flying in an environment that it cannot change. And therefore that plane is going to struggle to go any faster because it cannot fight the environment it's flying in. Let's talk about another flight you've been on. Pilot comes on, super chipper. Oh my gosh, this is a great flight. How's everybody doing? We're getting you home early today because we've got a tailwind behind this plane. We're going to land 30 minutes early. So if you've got people picking you up, let them know you're going to be early. You're like, wow, that's cool. That plane didn't have to work any harder. It didn't have to be modified, didn't have to do anything different. It just had the right environment. Your money works the same way an airplane does. You have to fly your money or use your money in the right environment. You pick the environment your money operates in. The problem is if you listen to the talking heads or you listen to just what you've been taught your whole life, you are flying your money with a perpetual headwind. You always have a headwind. Inflation, volatility, taxes, those are the headwinds. You can't beat them. But you can change the environment in which your money operates, and then you can have your money operate with a perpetual tailwind, which means you don't have to worry about inflation because your money is outpacing inflation, guaranteed. Keyword. You can beat volatility because you don't have to ride the roller coaster up and down. Your money does one thing, and that is go up. Imagine a vending machine. Hear me out, and I'm going to explain what this is. Imagine you bought a vending machine at a garage sale. And it's a vending machine that you put a quarter in, it gives you a cup of coffee. So you come home and you say, you try it out. You put a quarter in, or let's up it to $1 because there's no quarters anymore. You put $1 in your vending machine, and then all of a sudden the machine gives you your $1 back. You're like, son of a bitch, I knew this thing was broken. But then all of a sudden it drops a cup and it starts, pour you a cup of coffee, which you smell like, wow, that smells pretty good. And then just as you're taking the $1 in the cup of coffee, you're about to walk away. The machine goes cha-ching, cha-ching. It drops some change in the change thing. You're like, whoa, I got my $1 back. I got my coffee and I got some change. So you do it again. And the same thing happens. But now all of a sudden, instead of cha-ching, it goes cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You're like, wow, it gave me more change this time than last time. You go get your spouse and the same thing happens, but now it gives you more change. You go get your neighbors. The same thing happens. It gives you more change every time. Your neighbors think the machine's broken. That's too good to be true. Well, it keeps doing the same thing. Every time I do it, it gives me the same result. How many of you want that vending machine for your money? All of you can have that vending machine if you change the environment in which your money starts. If you change just one thing and that's where your money starts, you can have that vending machine. You don't have volatility. You have volatility that goes one way, up. Doesn't that sound freaking good? In taxes. Can we beat the Uncle Sam? No, you can't beat taxes. But can you play within the rules that Uncle Sam created in 1913? Just so you know, that's when the tax code was written. You can. The code was written so you can beat it, but you got to understand it and you got to know how to play in that environment that the wealthy play in. You can beat all of these enemies, but right now, these are your headwinds and you are facing them head on right now.
Absolutely. So what's the solution? And this is where we start getting into creating, wealth multiple ways, like learning the strategies of how, if inflation's we were just talking a little bit about what people think inflation is, what most people saying 7 to 9%. So let's just say inflation's at 7%, right? And your money's sitting at the bank right now. The bank's
Hold
paying.
on, Stephen. Like most people that watch the news would say that inflation's only about 5% and it's transitionary.
Right.
Like, okay. Why is the news saying 5 when it's actually 7 to 9? Right. What are they excluding? Right. Food, gas, aren't those pretty important?
Right. Yeah. Everything that actually does affect our money.
Right. Absolutely. I was just putting the knife in, man. I'll keep twisting it as we go.
It's just bizarre, but yeah, I mean, so if you're losing 10% of your wealth through inflation and your money's growing at 0% in a bank account where they tell you to put your money and keep it safe, right? Then what's happening? You're losing money all the time. So you got to get that money where I mean, and we're getting ready to get into equity in the house, which is one of my favorite things. So you got to create multiple ways. So let me show you, Chris. Let's get into hidden equity here. Here we go. I know this is one of your favorite things to talk about. So how many of you want to learn how to take that lazy money, where it's located, and how to start putting it to work? You want to give them some examples, Chris?
Yeah. So your house, all of you have one thing in common right now, and it's unique. This is, only a couple of times in history, but all of you have, if you own a house, all of you have equity in your house. It's a beautiful thing. The market's out of freaking control. I know because I'm selling my properties when everybody else wants to buy them. But the funny thing is everybody wants to buy real estate right now because they think it's going to go to the moon. Me, I'm like, wow, everybody's pretty greedy. Everybody wants this. So I'm going to sell. So I'm doing the opposite of what everybody's doing. But let's just say you don't want to sell your house, which I understand. I'm selling rentals and I'm selling properties I've helped. This is your house. Okay. Quaint little house. And in this house has something unique. If you walked into the attic, taped to all of your rafters is a bunch of stacks of money. Your money is literally sitting in the rafters of your house. It's called equity. All of us get excited about it when you're talking to your friends, you're at a football game, you're all bragging that you got so much equity in your house and you're so excited about it. But you know what the funny thing is? 2007, everybody was bragging about the equity in their rafters then. They were bragging about how much every time they come home, they got all their money sitting on their couch, laughing with them, eating their potato chips, drinking their soda while watching their TV. Their money's just being lazy. They're just letting it. I got all this equity in my house. I'm on the top of the world. 2008 hits, and what happened to their equity? Gone. Somebody overnight went in there with a giant vacuum machine and sucked up all those dollars that were taped to those rafters. Gone, just gone overnight. It was evaporated. Those people then are saying, oh my God, I could have, I should have, I would have. I wish I would have taken that money, that equity, and I wish I would have invested it in this. I wish I would have then just taken that equity, shuffled it around to different banks and waited for this opportunity because I could have bought this same house 50 cents on the dollar. Now, why didn't I just wait? Why didn't I take that equity and just sit and wait? People are in too big of a hurry to build wealth. Always. You need to be patient, but the equity in your house can vanish. It can be taken from you. Don't think for a second, just because it's there today, that it's going to be there tomorrow. That's the biggest mistake. That's like rule number one. The equity in your house needs to be sent to work. It can't just sit on your house eating your potato chips and drinking your soda. You can't allow that. That money needs to go to work. So how do you take that money and put it to work? It's so easy. How many of you, right now, I'm watching the comments. In the comments, I want you to tell me how many of you have a home equity line of credit, a HELOC on your property right now. Say I want to just kind of get a gauge. How many of you have one? Okay. Let's see. Nope. All right. So Tyler that said nope. I want to ask some of you that don't have one. I want to ask you why. Can someone tell me a lot? Holy smokes. Folks, your money, like I want you to envision that you come home from the worst day you've ever had. And you look at your couch and your money's just sitting there laughing at you while it's drinking your soda and eating your Lay's potato chips while watching your TV. You worked all day and your money's sitting there. Why?
Somebody just wrote that they have one. They learned it during the 3-day training last fall, and now they're doing private lending with it.
Absolutely. But that's fantastic. And I love that person for taking action because knowledge is useless unless you take action on it. That person took action. Congrats to them. But okay, so here we go. One person said credit score. Let's see. Why else would somebody not have one? Can be honest with me here. Don't own
Don't
a
own a
home. That's a
home.
good reason. Okay, that's a good reason. All right. Rent currently, totally understand. Let's see. Already taken it. Yep. Some don't own a home. So, all right. So the people that said no, those are people that don't own a home. I totally get that. But the people that have a home, that don't have a home equity line of credit, I got to ask them why. Oh, well, I don't know. Well, it doesn't cost you anything to get a home equity line. And when you get a home equity line, it doesn't cost you anything if you don't use the money. If it just sits there waiting for the opportunity, it costs you nothing. But I hate when people get a home equity line and the money just sits there and they're like, oh, I'm just waiting. Waiting for what? For the bank to call you and say that they froze your line of credit because your equity dropped below where they initially appraised your house? Because that will happen. The person that said that they got a home equity line of credit and they immediately deployed that money and made it go to work is the smartest one in this room. And I don't mean to say that nasty or anything, but think about that. They took money that was being lazy and they sent it to work. Their money is now working for them. What money? The equity in their house. Money that they didn't have to work any harder or any longer for. It just existed because of the market environment, because the environment their money was operating in, they now had equity that just appeared. Literally because of circumstances, because the government just printed 5 trillion, or is it 9, or is it 4? We don't even know. Like the government just printed all this money, put it into the system, drove the price of houses up, and all of you benefit, but most of you don't benefit at all because you are not putting that knowledge of that equity to work. You're not making your money go to work. That's a shame. So what would you do with that money? If I had an equity, a home equity line of credit, I got a house, and it's worth 100,000 more than what I paid for it. I got all this equity. What would I do? I got 100 grand. I don't know what to do with that money. Well, the thing not to do is don't put it in the market. I probably would be cautious about putting it into crypto because that's directly correlated right now with the market. You saw it just last week. So what would you do with it? Well, I'll tell you what I do. I love not owning anything, but controlling everything. So what do? I mimic the bank. I lend my money out to real estate investors through what we call the private money club. I lend it out at a rate of 12% annual. Okay. I make 12% on my money and I do it in very short-term deals under 6 months. So I'll put it into a deal. 6 months later, I get all my money back, but I made monthly payments that entire time. Every time I go to the mailbox, there's a check waiting for me every month. I put my money to work that way. How else can you put your money to work? Well, let's talk about your debts. You got equity in your house. How much will it cost you to get a home equity line of credit on your house? Maybe 3%, even let's call it 4%. Joseph, how much is yours? 3.5. 3.5. Let's go with 4 because it's a little bit higher. Your money costs you 4%. I want to put that money to work, but I don't know how to lend. I don't know how to be the bank. What do I do, Chris? Well, let's look at where all your money goes every month. Do you have credit cards? Oh, sure I do. I got about 20 grand in credit cards. Great. You got a $100,000 line of credit and you got $20,000 in credit cards. What's the rate you're paying to the credit card companies? I don't know, 15, 20%. Let's take the home equity line. Let's take 20 grand. Let's pay off all those credit cards. Let's take the exact amount every month that you pay to the credit cards and let's pay that back to the line of credit and then recycle and recapture all that money. But there's a spread. It cost you 4. You were paying 20. How much of a spread is 20 minus 4? You can all do the math, right? 16% you just made for not working any harder. There we go. Okay. You got a home equity line of credit at 5%. How much is your car loan? How much monthly are you paying on that 5-year car loan or that whatever it is you have that you're driving? Let's pay that car loan off and take that monthly payment you're giving the car company and pay it back to the line of credit. But you see, we're going to elaborate on that because I don't think paying it back to the line of credit is always the best use because we want to be cautious that the bank at any time for any reason can freeze your line of credit. We need to keep that money moving. But you see what I'm saying? Making money and building wealth doesn't always have to mean investing in high risk things. Let's just start building wealth through our own debts and expenses we already have. Every month, each one of you are writing checks to somebody else. You're writing a car payment. Who's that car payment going? If it's not going to your bank, it's going to the wrong place. How many of you have credit cards that you're making monthly payments to? A lot of you. And that payment's going to somebody else's bank, not your bank. How many of you have lines of credit or student loans or all these other things that you're paying to somebody else? Student loans we can dismiss right now because those are on like almost a perpetual deferment, it seems. But you get what I'm saying. Your money's going to somebody else's bank. We need to change the dynamic and bring that money back home to your bank so that every payment you make to somebody else now is a payment that you make back to yourself. And how do you do that? Simple. Draw a circle. And I'm going to, Stephen, can you take this off the screen so they can see me real quick? Everybody's going to like this. I got a big bandage on my hand from I fell skateboarding. No big deal. So I want you to envision a circle, right? And I want you to draw a circle right now. I want you to do this with me. Hold both your hands up. And then I want you to just draw a circle between your hands. On the left side of the circle, I want you to envision this is your bank. Just take and envision you own the bank and it has your name on it. This is your bank over here. That's that one change we got to do. We got to start your bank. Now I want you to envision on the right side, this is where all your money goes. These are all the places your money goes. So no matter what, if we just change one thing, if we change the name on the bank where your deposits go and it's your bank, and then we move the money on the top part of the circle. So follow me, okay? Top part of the circle, that money is going to go from your bank to over here, the things that you buy, the cars you drive, the things that you're doing, but we're going to do it differently. We're not going to just make monthly payments. We're going to find a way to snowball all of those places where that money goes, because what we really want is we want to take money from your bank to pay off their bank slowly. It's not going to happen overnight. And then we're going to take the money that we paid off to their bank, and we're going to then recapture it back into your bank, the bottom part of the circle. Your money comes out of your bank, goes to buy the things or pay off the things that you buy, drive, fly, whatever all those things are. And then we want that money that then went to somebody else's bank perpetually. We want to change the name on the check so that it goes back into your bank. Now imagine if your money always started in your bank and ended up back in your bank. That would be pretty impressive, but that sounds too good to be true. It's not. This is what we do every single day. This is what the money multiplier is. It is creating a banking system where all the money ends up back in your bank by changing one thing. And that one thing is where the money goes first. That's the only change. Like, so simple. All we need to do is change where the money goes first, and then everything else continues the way it does. Almost. It works almost just like that. So why are every one of you not doing this? You simply just haven't learned how yet. And that's what we're going to get into. We're going to get into it in depth, but I just want you to envision that circle, but the bank where your money resides, your capital resides, has your name on it. That makes all the difference. And now that it's your bank, what happens when it's your bank? Well, your money always continually earns uninterrupted compound interest because it's your bank. Your money never, ever stops earning interest. But how can that be? If it's my bank, like, I can't afford to go buy somebody else's bank. It's not a bank at all. Your money isn't even sitting in a traditional bank. Your money's sitting in a giant mutually owned insurance company through a system that was created by the JPs, the Morgans, Rockefellers, and all them. They created this. We didn't. We just learned it. And we just copy it. And then what we do is we then move the money out, but the money that we take out of our bank isn't even our money. That even sounds crazier. So you're saying, Chris, I put the money in my bank. Okay, that's where it starts. And then I take the money out of my bank to buy cars, pay off debts, and whatever else you're doing. But the money that I use to do all that isn't even my money. Precisely. It's the insurance company's money. They have all the money and they're glad to let you use it because they're just going to advance you part of your death benefit that your bank has as a legacy play. They're going to just advance it to you so you can use it. Oh, but isn't that bad that they're advancing a death benefit? Don't I have to pay that back? You will pay it back because all of us have the luxury in this world of graduating. Not from high school, not from college, not from, some grad school, the big graduation. Like, we're all going to die. And when we die, that insurance company is going to make whole on whatever money we've taken from them and used during our life. The insurance company doesn't care that you use your death benefit while you're living or the day you graduate. They don't care. So why wouldn't we be using it? Because now that we're using somebody else's money, our money never left our bank, which means our money never, ever stopped earning uninterrupted compound interest. Imagine a place where your money resides, where it never stops earning interest as long as you live, but yet you get to use the money while you're living anytime you want to buy the things that you want to buy, to live the life that you want to live. Folks, that's the game changer. I'm not going to go into the weeds on it because I know a lot of people are going to have a ton of questions, but I just want you to understand this is what you're missing. This is what the wealthy are doing. I mean, whether you like Biden or not, Sleepy Joe, whatever you call him, like, that dude's using it. It's public knowledge. McCain used it. Warren Buffett uses it in a different way than what we're explaining. All of these folks, all of them are using it. I'm not getting politics at all. Like, it doesn't matter, but these are wealthy families. They all know this. Why don't you? How come your advisor hasn't shown this? Oh, I'm sorry. Because your advisor doesn't want to take a pay cut of 60 to 90%. That's why you don't know this. How do I know that? Stephen, how do we know that? Because we lived it. Right. We lived it. We were never, ever taught this as advisors because our broker or our company never wanted us to take a 60 to 90% cut in pay, because that means they take a 60 to 90% cut in pay.
I mean, what if I, as an advisor, taught you how to control your own money? What would be the point of me?
There would be none.
Right. So there's reasons all this stuff happens. I'm hoping that's what we get into tomorrow, Chris, are 2 topics on how to truly control your money, control your wealth, and control your investing. And that's done through 2 different strategies that we teach, having to do with self-directed retirement accounts and having to do with what Chris is speaking of right now with the money multiplier. And I'd love to get in deeper into both of those tomorrow on the preview. What do you think about that, Chris?
I love it. I love it. And you know me, Stephen, I get all fired up and get jazzed up and, hey, listen, like I went through a couple of weeks of travel, and then I had the good old COVID that, many of you have heard about in the news. And then we went traveling again. So I haven't been in front of all of you in a while, but I want you to think about what I just showed you, right? You make income somewhere. All of you have income, and all we're going to do is we're going to change where that goes. We'll just call this the money multiplier. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to move that money over here to do the things that you love, cars. I don't know, let's draw some airplanes, whatever you want. I mean, anything that you're doing, investments, let's put some crypto over here. Your money's going here, but your money today is then leaving. It's never completing the rest. It came from a bank, not your bank, but now what we want to do is we want to complete that circle. But now remember, all of you, or any of you that own a house, I should say, not all of you, you have equity in your house. So up here, let's just draw this. This is now your house. So now all of a sudden you've got this hidden equity sitting in your house. So this equity is doing nothing, and you're wondering, how do I make that money move? Well, you can deploy that money out directly to do like what I said with the credit cards, right? I don't know, how do you draw a credit card these days? They just got that little chip, and then you can take that money and move it back, move it back over into the home equity. But what if we just changed one thing and kind of took a card out of Joseph's book here, who's kind of reinventing this whole thing? What if we took the money from the equity line and we put it into our bank? And then we immediately, in the next 30 days, move that money out to basically pay off our car. And then we take the $600 a month car payment and we roll that $600 a month car payment. Some of it goes back into our banking policy. Some of it goes back into the hidden equity of our house, paying whatever the bank wants. Now that would be awesome. But what if now we found a way to tap into the hidden equity of your house, but we never needed to pay any of that back? See, we didn't create a loan. We didn't create a monthly payment. Quantum RE will be at the 3-day event showing you exactly how this works. Is there a catch? Yeah, it's not really a bad catch. They're going to share in your future appreciation of your house. If your house even appreciates anymore, they're going to share in that someday whenever you're ready to sell it. 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years later, they're going to share in that equity. But why would they do that? Well, because they understand how money works, and they understand that all real estate over time has gone up. Hopefully that will continue, and they're going to share in that someday in the future. And you get the money today to use. Now, let me ask you all a question. In the chat, I want to know the answer to this question. Is your money worth more today or in the future? Today or in the future? Okay, Sean said today. Edwin today, Tyler today, Stephen today, Scott and Dolly. We got Tyler said today, Tyler said future. Oh, whoa, future. One person said future. Okay. Today. Everybody that said today, yesterday, all of you that said your money's worth the most today, you are absolutely right. Your money will never be worth more today. Look at history, look at inflation, look at charts that show that. Never, ever will your money be worth more in the future. The person that said the future is probably thinking, well, if it grows, it will be worth more in the future. But those dollars in the future will be weaker dollars than the dollars today. So your money is always going to be weaker in the future. So why would we not want our money moving today, making more in today's numbers versus taking your money, putting it in 401ks like you've been taught to do, where that money then can't be used for 5, 10, or 15 years. That's back-assward. Did I say that right? Back-assward? Try doing it reverse. Anyway, you get the drift. Your money is the most valuable today. So the dollars today are the ones you need to take action on. Not the future dollars that don't exist, not the dollars that you had, but you no longer have today. My life story. The dollars that you have today are the dollars that we're talking about. And we need to make those dollars work the most effective way. So if you had a way to tap into the equity of your house, sorry, Stephen, and you got those dollars to use today, wouldn't that be more valuable than waiting 30 years or 20 years till your house is paid off to actually use those dollars? It would.
Absolutely. And all I was going to add was, I know a couple people on here said they don't own a home. So this, maybe they think this is not relevant for them, but that's the furthest from the truth. Because if you're working towards buying your first home, you're going to need a down payment, right? So you're going to need some cash, you're going to need some money, or, whatever has happened in the past that you don't own a home right now, that's fine. It's not a big deal. But how many people, friends, family, neighbors that do own homes? How many of those friends, family, and neighbors might not understand money? Maybe they're very good at what they do, but they don't understand money. And maybe you are the type of person that's a hustler and you want to go out there and you want to do some real estate deals, or you want to make yourself more successful, but you think to yourself, I don't even own my own home. I don't have the money to get started in this business. So how am I going to do it? Well, what if you learn how money works from us? What if you learn about HELOCs and home equity agreements and how to move that money around? And you go to your friend and you say, hey, I know you own this home. I know it's appreciated in our area a lot over the last 18 months. How would you like if I showed you a strategy of how to use your home to make an extra $1,000 a month? To make an extra $2,000 a month. Would you be open to hearing about that? And you go and you teach them that strategy and you teach them how to use that lazy money with you. They trust you. It's your friend, it's your family, it's your neighbor, right? They trust you to go out there and get the deal done. And that's the power of this. So it doesn't matter where you're starting right now. Even if you're brand new, you lost your home, you don't own a home, you've never bought a home yet, you can still teach this strategy to other people to access money. Let's give them an example, Chris.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm just typing something to someone here real quick. So you caught me off guard there.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just going to pull up the HELOC example because I think it's a good one.
Oh yeah, I love this one. Absolutely love this one.
Yeah, so this is how you're going to go out there and, whether it's yourself, whether it's other people, it does not matter. You're going to be able to take advantage of this. And I said earlier, we'll show you strategies right now tonight on how to never have to worry about getting money for another deal ever. The money's out there. You just need to know how to access it, how to present it, and how to get it. So here we go. So this is an example of using a home equity line of credit to create just a normal income. You want to go through this, Chris? You don't.
Yeah, it's so easy. Let's just remember that example I was giving you where you had 100,000. Now I use that to pay off credit card debt, which works just fine because if you're paying the credit cards 20%, you can use the money at 4 or 5%. It just economically and mathematically makes sense. But let's go one layer deeper. Let's do what so many people are doing in the private money club. They're tapping into the equity in their house. Whether it's a home equity line of credit, maybe some of them are refinancing to get the lower interest rate and the lower payment. It doesn't matter how you tap into the equity. We always just talk about home equity lines because they cost nothing. And if you don't use the money, you don't have to pay for it. So let's just assume that $100,000 home equity line of credit is going to cost you 5%. All of you that rent houses, I've got a strategy too for you that we're going to talk about in a second. And I love it. So that would be on 100 grand at 5%. It'd be roughly $5,000 per year, $416.67 a month. So that's your cost to use your capital. And that capital is lazy money sitting in your rafters or on your couch. Just getting you the visual. So now what do? We've got 100 grand that we know if we take it out, we're paying $416. And Chris, I don't have an extra $416 to give up to just have this money sitting. Great. Let's make it go to work immediately. So let's just say we get someone like, I'm going to pick on, who can I pick on here? Let's pick on Scott and Dolly. Let's just say Scott and Dolly, I just first name I saw, they've got a great real estate deal, but they're struggling because they need money to do this real estate deal and they don't have it. They've already, used their home equity line of credit to pay off all their debts and everything else. They just need 100 grand that otherwise they're going to miss this opportunity on this real estate deal. So you see, now we've got a unique environment that we're in. We've got you that's got $100,000 available. That was the equity in their house. And you can use that at 5. Scott and Dolly need $100,000 to make money on this flip. This is a win-win. If we can just bring those two people together and then show, all right, one person, here's your opportunity. Let's make that money go to work. Let's own nothing but control everything, because when they lend that money to Scott and Dolly, they are going to be in a first lien position. Always remember the movie Talladega Nights. If you're not first, you're last. You always want to be in a first lien position because now you are in control. And I'm all about controlling money. So that you with the house and the equity lend Scott and Dolly $100,000. Scott and Dolly agree to pay you 10% I charge 12, but you're being nice. They agree to pay you 10% on your money, interest only, for a 6-month deal or a year, however long it takes them to get that house refinanced or sold. How much would 10% on 100 grand be? Easy math, 10 grand, $833 every month. How much money did you make in the middle of the cost that it took to borrow the money from the bank at the home equity line versus what Scott and Dolly are paying you? The answer is $5,000 a year, or $416.67 every single month that you now just created out of true arbitrage. You didn't have to work any harder. Sure, you needed a little bit of knowledge and you have to put that knowledge to work, but you didn't have to go to work. You didn't have to hustle. You didn't really have to do anything. You didn't really take on much risk there. Okay. It's a secured deal. It's secured by a tangible asset. So why doesn't everybody do this? I don't know. Fear. They all say, oh, I don't know how to do this. Great. Well, we teach you how to do this. There's nothing hard about mimicking what a bank does day in and day out on loans. You just need to follow a very simple set of rules, literally about 5 rules. Just follow them every time. And then this will be like clockwork. You won't even think anymore. You'll just do, and you can make that. That's one deal. Now, what if we did that 3 times a year? Okay. What if we were able to make 12%? What if we even made 15% on a deal because somebody really needed the money and you had it? You see, these are the opportunities that I talk about leaving you every day because you're not making your money go to work. This is a perfect example. I do this all the time. I did this with my mother's house. I don't own a house. I'm sorry. I didn't own a house back then. So I own 2 right now, but 3 actually. That's irrelevant. But back in the day, my mother had this house. She put it on the line for me to open Fat Man board shops. I paid that loan back in 5 years. She had equity. My mother always bitched and moaned about her car payment. So I solved my mom's problem. I said, Mom, you got all this equity in the house that you used to let me use, but now it's lazy again. It's sitting there. Look at it. It's right in the rafters. Can you see it? No, Chris, I can't see it, but it's there. It's equity. It's lazy. Let's have that money go to work. I know some folks that need some money. Let's lend it to them and let's take positions on their homes in the form of a mortgage, just like you had on this house. And let's lend that money to them at 10 or 12%. And then what did I solve? What problem did I solve for Mom? I took money that she didn't even know she had. She knew she had equity, but she didn't translate it to actually money. She just translated it to, I got equity in my house. People have that disconnect. They don't even translate equity with dollars and cents that they can use today. But then we created this model right here. And my mom's car payment, which is about $317, I think, is paid by her banking system. Her house pays for her car. Think about that. Any of you have your house paying for your car payment? Does your house pay for your car? Yes or no? I didn't own a house back then, okay, when I first started doing this. My mother did. For those of you that are renting, you may not own a house. You might be like, oh, this won't work for me. I don't own a house. Do your parents own a house? Does anyone in your close circle own a house? What if you showed them how to actually do what I showed my mom to do? Could you somehow make some money in the middle? Could you split what's being made for showing them how to do it and facilitating it? Maybe, maybe not. It's not about your actual resources, folks. It's about how resourceful you can get. This is getting resourceful. This is a simple technique. This money can be done with home equity lines of credit. This money can be done with a margin account on your stock portfolio. This technique is exactly what we use when we're using those specially designed and engineered whole life policies, the money multiplier. This is what we do. It is simple economics and simple math. You need to be doing this with or without the house that you do or do not own. Find a way to get resourceful. Teach other people how to do this. Go to your neighbor and say, hey, Mr. Neighbor, I want to show you something. I want to show you how this house can pay for that car. And maybe this house can pay for that car and that car. And maybe if you're lucky, if you got enough equity in this house can pay for that car, and your kid's college tuition. You think your neighbor's going to listen to you? Absolutely. Absolutely. Show people how to solve their problems and they will solve your problems. Whatever problem you have, the answer to that problem is solve somebody else's problem. Yes, we'll solve your problem, but start with solving somebody else's problem, because then you now have the pathway using the universal law of giving to solve your own problem. That might be a little hokey pokey for some of you on the first training here, but it works. I just simply showed you how I solved my mother's problem. How does that solve my problem? My friends' deals are getting funded. Do you think maybe I'm a partner in some of those deals? Tick, tick, tick. Do you think maybe I go to those people and I say, hey, listen, my mom will lend you money on this deal and I'll help you do that if you give me 10 or 20% of the profits. See what I'm saying? Now it's a win-win. Now all of a sudden I'm in the middle. I showed the way to do it. I'm making money. My mom's making money, and Scott and Dolly are making money because they couldn't have done the deal without this.
I love it, man. I love it. We had 7 deals presented on Money Club Mondays today. So Money Club Mondays is a public webinar we do every Monday. Talking about the private money club and strategies for private lending and real estate deals. Today, we presented 7 deals that borrowers are looking for lenders within the private money club. 3 were offered at 15% return, Chris. 3 were at 15% annual returns. 1 was offered at 20% profit sharing with a 10% downside. So yes, the deals are out there and there's many, many of them all the time.
Oh my God. Steven, do you have a slide on 401ks? Because people are like, oh, I don't have a house. I don't have this. I got all my money sitting in a 401k. Somebody just said that. I don't know where they are. So
yeah, absolutely. So 2 things with 401ks. First off, if you have an active 401k, we'll show you what to do with that thing right now. If it's an old 401k or one that we can move, tomorrow, we're going to teach you how to self-direct that and take back complete control. Because why in the hell would you put your money in the stock market right now? Where is money invested in 401ks? In the stock market. You tell me, how much are you putting into that thing? I had somebody saying that they're putting 10% into it, 10% of their paycheck going to the 401k. Only 5% is matched. So how much are they putting in? Too much? 5% too much. So take that 5%, do something else with it. Because why would you give up control of your money? A 401k, do you pay taxes on the profits? Yes. When do you pay taxes on those profits? Later in life. What are taxes doing every year right now? Increasing. So why are you putting off paying taxes until later in life when we're going to pay? God, who knows where they're going to with what's going on right now. So why are you doing that? So there's so much better ways. But yeah, absolutely, Chris. What can you do if you have a 401k or somebody you know with a 401k?
There we go. All right. And listen, like everybody, keep your questions coming. I promise you I will not end until I answer all your questions. I'm just having too much fun because I'm like literally just fired up about this stuff because this is so simple to me, to Steven. This is just common knowledge, but to the other person, maybe one of you, this is life changing. This is financially you getting off of the damn hamster wheel that you've been running on your entire life, wondering there's got to be a way off this. Well, here's the thing. We're talking about, let's start with current 401ks. I don't have a house. I just got all this money in this 401k, but I can't use it unless I leave the employer or I borrow it. Bingo. So your 401k, we had so much fun during COVID because the rules changed, but let's just get back to reality. Your 401k will allow you to use 50% or $50,000. Those are the rules right now. So you can use 50% of the balance in your 401k or $50,000. Now it doesn't seem like a lot. But let me keep this, can you zoom in on me a little bit here? All right, folks, we push the camera back trying to show more. So right here, just zoom this thing in, just like a regular camera. And then what you got to do once it zooms in, okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, and then just push that little button and just hold it down. Hold on. No, one in front. There we go. Push that down, just kind of hold it lightly and you'll see it zoom in. There we go. Bingo. All right, close enough, folks? All right, so you don't get my pretty background that we just did, but here we go. So you can use 50% or $50,000. Now, what are you going to use that money for? So we can draw all sorts of things. You can have real estate. You can have credit. Whoops, that's a terrible credit card. You could have credit cards that we owe money on. So let's just draw a couple credit cards here. Okay, 20%, 15, and maybe you got one of those 0% cards, which are just a trap. Okay, maybe you've got a car note over here that they dinged you and charged 8%. So you see, these are all the places where your money's going. This is just an opportunity for you to earn 12% through Private Money Club. You have this money, but you don't know how to get it over here to make money. It's very simple, folks. You can take out a loan from your 401k. All of you can. Okay, there's hardly any 401ks out there or even 403bs or 457 plans if you work for the government that do not allow you to take a loan. Very few. Okay, so now we have this place where we can now take $50,000 out as a loan. But here's the bad thing. Loan, bad word, swear word. Loan means have to repay. Loan means extra money every month, unless you have a private banking policy. It's a little different. But this loan does need to be repaid. So now we're going to take this loan and we're going to basically use this to either invest and lend out at 12%, or maybe we're going to use this to pay off the credit cards, or maybe we're going to use this to pay off that high interest rate car. It doesn't matter what you use it for. And Stephen, in a second, he'll put that back up. The math is the same, but even better than the home equity line, because here's the deal. When you take a loan from your 401k, the best thing ever will happen. First off, you're going to get out of the market at the highest point, because the market's at the highest point right now. Why sell low when you can sell high? You get a loan, it takes you out of the market. Good. You just got out at the high point. Some of you should take some notes right there. So we got out at the high point. Secondarily, when you take a loan, they're going to charge you interest, and let's just call it 4 to 5% right now. That 4 to 5% has to be repaid to the 401k out of payroll deductions. They are literally going to withhold money from each paycheck as a loan repayment back to your 401k. You're like, that sucks. Yes, if you don't make that money go to work. But what did we do? We just sent that money out and made it work. And let's just call this 10% for simple math. We just sent that money out and we made it work 10%. Okay, 10% on $50,000 is how much? What is 10% of 50,000? Can anyone give me the math? And give it to me monthly. Can you do that? 50,000, 10%. This should be simple. I should be able to do it in my head. I just don't want to get it wrong. 10%, I know it's 5,000 a year. I need the month for, what is it? Is it 416 a month?
416.
Thank you. All right. $416 a month. That's what I was looking for. And I just did it a second ago. I just didn't remember. So that creates 416. Do it at 20%, 50,000 times 20% divided by 12. Let's say your credit cards average out at 20%. What's that per month? Huh? $833 a month. Okay. And then a car percent, 8%. What's 50,000 times 8%? Divided by 12. 333. Yeah. All right. So there's the math, folks. Okay. 416 if you lend it out at 10. 833 if you pay off your credit cards at 20%. 333 if you pay off that high interest rate car loan or boat loan or whatever loan. What's that? Yeah, well, we won't even do that. But now, how much did it cost you to borrow the money? 4 to 5%. So can you see the spread between all of these interest rates? 10 minus 5 is, you got a 5% spread right here, okay? So you're up 5%, okay? 5 minus 20 is you're up 15% here, and 5 minus 8, you're up a 3% spread there. See the spread? This is what a bank does every single day when they take your money and pay you interest and lend it out. They're just playing on an arbitrage. You have the ability to do the same thing. So now what we do, pick any of these numbers. Let's just pick this one. We're going to take that 416 and we're going to pay it back to the 401k. Why? Because we're going to regenerate the money in the 401k. But what about this? This 4 to 5% that they charged you on that 401k loan, where does that interest go? Does it go to the financial company? Does it go to your employer? Or does it go back into your 401k? Every one of those biweekly payments back to your 401k, the interest portion goes back to you. That's the rules, folks. So now what did you just do? Well, you just made money and interest here, plus you just made the arbitrage here. That's a win, folks. If you're not doing that with your 401k right now, I just got to ask you why. I can't tell you how many stinking people we meet with that have piles of credit cards at 15, 20, 29%. And they got all their money sitting in a 401k. They got hundreds of thousands of dollars. Stephen, how often does that happen?
All the time.
I got 300,000 in my 401k and I got 50,000 in credit card debt.
But Chris, my 401k is up 13% last year.
Oh yeah, but I don't want to take money out of my 401k. It's up 13%. Great. So if it was down 13%, that's when you want to take it out? Literally. Come on, let me go one more round. I got it, Steve. You got to let me do this. One more round. I got the perfect solution. Nobody wants to pay taxes, right? I love this. I love this. I had a guy, a real guy. He was an engineer, just so everybody knows. Hopefully he's not on here. He was an engineer. He had millions of dollars. He comes to me. He wants to get involved in this lending thing. It seems like a great way to diversify his investment holdings. And I said, yeah, I brought him a deal. It was a great deal. And he says, oh, this is awesome. He said, all right, well, where's the money going to come from? I'm like, I don't know, dude, you got millions. Pick, like, do we want to take it from this one and this one? I would say take it from the non-qualified account. And he's like, oh, yeah. Calls his CPA and his CPA says, oh, yeah, if you take it from there, you're going to have to pay taxes. Calls me back. He says, Chris, I don't think I can do this deal. If I take the money out of the brokerage, I got to pay taxes on the gains. And I kind of was like, no shit. Imagine that. You made money, you got to pay taxes. Darn. And he says, I just don't think I'm going to do the deal. I'm like, wait. So you're telling me you don't want to do the deal that's going to make you this much money because you don't want to pay taxes that you're going to pay someday? He's like, yeah. My CPA said I shouldn't take money out to pay taxes. I said, yes, listen, I meet a lot of engineers like you, and I have a solution. How about you could do this and you never have to pay taxes? Would that be something you like? And I show them, I say, okay, here's what we're going to do, folks. We're going to basically watch our stocks go up. All right. And what we got to do is somewhere along this path where you've gone up and made 100% because you're such a good stock investor. And you should be Warren Buffett. You know everything about stocks. You've made 100% on your money. Good for you. Okay. But how much what's your cost basis? 50,000. Great. All right. Well, you're going to invest 100,000 and you're going to make 12% plus 25% of the profit. That was the deal we came up with, right? So he's into it for 50 grand. That's his cost basis. But if he takes 100 out, he's got to pay tax on $50,000 at a rate of 30%. That's what killed the deal. So I said, here's all you got to do. All we got to do is we just got to wait for the stock market to go down. And we're just going to watch it. It's going to go down and down and down and down and down. But before it goes down too far, all we need to do is we need to figure out if this is where you bought in. Let's say you bought this stock at $30. We're going to wait till that stock gets down to $28 and we're going to sell it. And heck, we might as well just take it down to $25 and sell it then, because now what you're going to do is you're not going to have to pay any taxes, Mr. Engineer. Zero taxes. Awesome. But you know what else? Whatever amount you sell underneath your cost basis, now we've got a carry forward loss. Tell your CPA we now have a carry forward loss we can use next year and the year after. Boom, you no longer had to pay taxes. I hope all of you are finding the humor in that and seeing how idiotic that is. But as idiotic as that is, that's how people actually think. They literally think that way. They think that they don't want to pay taxes because they've made all this money and they don't want to ever pay taxes, but someday you're going to pay taxes. And if you don't pay the taxes, you know who is? Your family when you graduate. You want that? You want to have your family put that burden on them because that's what you're going to do. Oh, but I get a step up in basis. Oh yeah, until this administration takes that away too, right? You're going to wait and just gamble with that one because they'll take that away from you, just like they're going to take your 1035 exchanges away, just like they're going to take and raise your capital gains. They're going to take that away too. So you want to gamble on that. So then let's just wait and sell at a loss and then no taxes. Because why make money and not take the gains off the table, right? Let's not do that. Let's just wait till the market goes down and sell then. That seems like a logical thing to do, does it not? Man, that pisses me off. This is how people think. It's ass backwards, not bass backwards anymore. Now I'm just going to put it out there. That is stupid, stupid, stupid. And that is what people do. They buy high, they sell low. They don't buy low and sell high. Look around. Who's buying right now? Everybody. Everybody. Who's selling right now? The people watching this, the people coming to the 3-day event are selling because they're learning how this works. But most people are just buying, buying, buying. And then what are they going to do when it goes down? Oh, we're going to sell. Oh, we can't handle loss. Oh my God, I got to get out. I don't want to lose it all. Emotion kicks in and they sell. People do the opposite of what they should do with their money, which is why the cycle continues, which is why you keep hearing it over and over again, and which is why that will never, ever change for any of you until you change the way you look at money. Sorry, Stephen, I had to do that, man.
It's awesome, man. I mean, they got it figured out. We like we said, I mean, the banks know, does anybody know the average, how long somebody owns a home before they switch homes or they refinance their mortgage, what the average amount of years is? 7 years, right? 7 years. Absolutely, Sean. Does anybody know how many years it takes for 90% or so of the interest on your mortgage is paid? Right about 7 years. About 7 years in, you're like 82% or something like that of the total interest for a 30-year mortgage is paid within 7 years. So if they know you're going to move or refi every 7 years, do you think it makes sense that they set up their loans that way to get all of their money up front? We're just mimicking the banks. Do you think it's ironic that you walk into a bank, and we're going to get into this tomorrow, I'm setting this up, how to take back control of your money. The $1 trillion source and becoming your own bank is going to be taught tomorrow. But how many of you wonder why when you walk into a bank, everybody that you meet is a vice president? Does anybody want to know why that happens? We'll show you tomorrow. Does anybody want to learn what the Rockefellers do? How a 200-year-old banking strategy is done by you, by me, by Chris, by every single person on this call, because we're able to do that now. So this is the stuff we're going to get into tomorrow. And it's fascinating. And we'll teach you other ways to take your retirement accounts, your 401ks, your old 401ks, your IRAs, your HSAs, and how to take complete control of that things are happening in this country right now, guys. You got to get prepared. You have to be ready. So now's the time to get the education and get a plan in place. And again, I promise you, every one of you that attends this 3-day training, you will have that step-by-step plan in place to know exactly what to do starting on Monday to position yourself to take advantage of this.
So somebody earlier had asked, and I want to make sure I get this out of the way. Does it make sense to take a loan at 5% to pay toward debt that is 3%? This is a difficult question, and this is not going to be the same answer for each and every single one of you, but what it really comes down to is a couple things. First off, this loan at 5%, we would have to know more than that. We'd have to know the term. We'd have to know the conditions. We'd have to know, like, what does this loan look like and everything else. It's 5%. Then we'd have to know this debt, which is only at 3%. What is the monthly amount? Like, how much is this costing you a month? Because there's a couple things here. From the surface, if I borrow at 5 and I pay off debt at 3, it doesn't make any sense because we're losing 2%. But if I just changed where this money went, like if I had 5% from a home equity line and I put that money into something that was making me 6, and then I paid off debt at 3, now that evens out the spread. So what is this? This is that specially designed and engineered whole life. Maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. If you're just looking at a debt for 5, or I'm sorry, a loan at 5 that you were going to take and debt at 3, it really come down to cash flow. Because just like every business owner, it's great to make money. It's great to look at all the numbers, but you know what matters for business owners? Cash flow. Let's just assume that you have a debt at 3% and that debt is costing you $700 a month. And again, maybe it's the term, maybe there's different things in there, but then you have a loan over here for the same dollar amount that you can borrow at a higher rate, but now your payment's only $300. Maybe the term is longer or something like that. If you were in the game, forget about this right now, okay? If you were in this because you needed cash flow, you're in a tough place and you just need extra money every single month. This 300 minus the 700 would create a positive cash flow for you, which would be a very positive reason to take a loan at 5 and pay off debt at 3. I wouldn't probably do that unless I absolutely needed the cash flow. What I would do is not use this loan at 5. I would find a way to pay off this debt over time by simply systematically saving and then paying that off. Or what I would do is I would try to use something like, I don't know how many of you have seen the resellers thing. Okay. There's a reseller thing where Jerry Bone kind of teaches you how to basically, I'm not even gonna get into it, but basically this amounts at getting you $750 a month. If you needed an extra $750 a month, every month, and you didn't want to work for it or go out there and hustle for it, you just wanted to basically partake in the resellers program, that'd be $750. Now that gives you the money to systematically invest when you didn't have it before. It's like creating money out of thin air. These things are everywhere. You got to figure them out. You got to do your due diligence, which we have done to make sure that it's real. And then from there, then you've just created money out of thin air. We've been showing you today really how to create money out of thin air the whole night. Nothing that we really showed you outside of learning how to do it and actually applying it involved you working any harder. It didn't involve you working any longer. It didn't involve you taking on any more risk than you're taking today. And it certainly didn't involve you giving up control of your money. Everything we just showed you was literally working off of an arbitrage and doing what a bank does day in and day out by having their money work for them. It'd be easy for us to come on here and say, okay, you guys want to make more money? Great. Let's get you a second job. Let's deliver pizzas on the weekend. You got to hustle, folks. You got to go out there and hustle. If you're only working 40 hours a week, you got to work 100, man. That's how you get ahead. Great. Maybe that is how you get ahead. But to me, that isn't how I want to live my life. That isn't what I want to do. You know, Dave Ramsey says, eat rice and beans. And then when you're sick of them, eat beans and rice. Damn it, I want my Starbucks every day. And if that Starbucks is going to cost me whatever, $50 a week, I got to find a way to generate $50 a week extra without working any harder or any longer. Doesn't that sound like a better way to live our lives? Instead of giving up the things we love, we find a way to actually afford the things we love without working harder by simply making our money work for us. If that sounds good, folks, you need to be at the 3-day event. There's nothing any more I can say. I'm not telling you that because I want you to spend $297 to spend 3 days with us. But you know what? I should be a way more expensive than $297. But I'm not doing this for money. We spend $15,000 to promote this event, to get more bodies there so we can change more lives. We spend more in marketing than we bring in from the event. Do we care? No, because if we solve your money problems, you're going to be around the campfire for a long time, and we're going to find ways to both make a lot of money over time. Again, what did I say early on? Warren Buffett was asked by Jeff Bezos, Warren, you know how to make money. It's so easy what you do. Why doesn't everybody do it? Warren looks back at Bezos and says, because everybody's in a hurry. That's why, Bezos. Everybody's in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry anymore. I don't care if it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years to change my financial future. That time is worth it. If you're in a hurry, you're in the wrong place. This is not a get rich quick thing. This 3-day event is not going to show you some magic thing that's going to make you wealthy tomorrow. What this 3-day event is going to do is show you how to build a lot of wealth over time and completely change your financial future. That's it. It's all we got to offer you. If you want to know how to put a bet on, the options, sure, we teach that, but we don't like getting risky. If you want to put all your money in some shit coin and hope that it goes to the moon, great, go somewhere else, because that's not what we do. Because the other side of that coin is detrimental and tragic. Because when you lose all your money because you didn't put it on black, you put it all on red and it strikes black, that's tragic. When you make a little bit of money every single day, just doing a system and doing what the wealthy have done for hundreds of years, that takes time, but you know what? You'll never be disappointed. It will never, ever, ever not work for you. And there will never come a day that vending machine doesn't give you more change the next day. That's what we do. That's what we're here to teach you. And we want you there tomorrow, and we want you there this weekend. So that's all I got for you.
Yeah. And Chris, I mean, I'm just looking at this lineup right now. It's fascinating to me. So first off, if we took anything positive out of last year, it's learning how to use Zoom and how to do virtual events. Because if I was to I'm just looking at the experts we have coming in. I mean, do you guys do who Harry Dent is? Google Harry Dent. He's a world-renowned economist. The guy lives down in Puerto Rico, right? And he's an unbelievable. He's at all the money show events. Like, he's one of the top economists in the world. He's going to be on there with us on Friday afternoon. Like, we have Kevin Shortell, who is literally, if not one of the top 3 note investors in the United States of America. He's been doing it for 30 years. Chris Rude does more real estate than anybody I've ever seen in my life. Dr. Ron Eccles, just unbelievable business owner and leadership coach. Matthew Sullivan with the home equity agreements we're talking about. We're bringing in Spencer Montgomery, who's a multimillionaire from just crypto investing. This guy knows more about Bitcoin than anybody I've ever met in my life. Solomon, who, if you've never heard Solomon speak before, like, get ready. Like, the $300 alone is just to hear Solomon. All right. Like, it's unbelievable. But if we were to bring in Brent Carlson, Andrew, like Sodi, I forgot we're even going to get into stock and options.
Brand new. Yeah.
If we were to bring all these people into one event, a live event, it would be like a $5,000 or $10,000 ticket price to learn from these people. It's yours for $297. It's unbelievable what we've done here.
Yeah, I mean, just Harry Dent alone is well worth it. I mean, you don't believe that this is the event? Listen to the testimonials. I mean, the one testimonial probably could have you in tears if you were an emotional kind of person. I mean, it's changed Claire's life, literally. And John and Lori, I mean, they've been around the campfire, like, to see where their business was and where it is today in their life. It's unbelievable. I don't know why anybody wouldn't make time. Oh, I got this going on. Great. Get the recordings. Watch the recording for the one training that you want to learn about. Maybe you just want to learn how to pay less than taxes through 1041s. Great. $297 is worth just Solomon. $297 is worth just hearing Harry Dent, just hearing him. It's worth it. Like, the dude is world renowned. He's the one that consults like high level people, probably politicians on the economic state. Oh God, I want to start drawing again, but I can't because we're out of time, way out of time.
And as you can see, you get lots of bonuses. We don't have time to go through it all, but you're going to get all of this stuff, which is, it's invaluable. I mean, the file vault alone, just be able to analyze deals, decide whether it's a good deal to either get inside, be part of, if you're on the active real estate side, or if you're on the passive side of lending, you can use these tools to evaluate the deals just the same, because whether you're lending or whether you're borrowing and doing the deal yourself, you got to understand the numbers. You got to understand what makes it a good deal. What's the profit margin? How much money is going to be involved in the rehab. That's all the stuff we're going to give you. You get the comprehensive wealth builder kit. You get a $600 free self-directed IRA starter kit, including waiving the $350 setup fee. We do the consultations with you, MSTV. I mean, it's never ending. So get yourself started with it, learn money, learn investing, learn how to take back control and really start creating that legacy and that future for you and your family.
Let me
That's what it's.
sweeten it up too. You know, there's 80 people left on here, and the anonymous just kind of hit me with kind of a challenge. You know, he said, he or she, I don't know, it's anonymous, says at $50,000 to $100,000, you know, to invest, and he's looking at different companies in different ways. Well, if you join us for the 3-day, and this is only for the 3-day, and it's going to be a bonus session, which will not be recorded, I'm going to tell you about, in my opinion, one of the single best investments I've ever seen in my life, one that you will never have the opportunity to invest in, period. That's simple. This is not some like thing. You just never will have the opportunity to get into a deal like this. You guys have all heard of a company called Intellivision. You remember it? They made video games, big ones. They were huge. They were owned by Mattel until they then spun it back to the employees. Well, what if you knew, and what if you got to spend 2 full days with the guy that bought that company? And what if you then got to know this guy, and this guy was creating a brand new video game model, okay, that will completely disrupt what you know about video games. Any of you know how big the video game industry is? Well, I hate to put it into retrospect, but for decades, the porn industry has been one of the highest revenue industries, period. Video games have surpassed that. Okay. That's how big the video game industry is. You all know it. You see your kids playing it. You guys probably play it yourself. What if you had the ability to invest in television, a company that doesn't ever need your money, but right now does because of COVID, because all their parts are sitting in ships out in the harbor in one of those stations where they can't get them into the harbor. They've got a brand new console. Okay. You liked Wii. This is going to blow Wii out of the freaking, it just blows it away. It takes everything that you know about online video games, everything you know about, you know, cell phone video games, and everything you know about console video games, brings them into one, and will completely disrupt the whole entire video game world. You know who knows this? Walmart and Amazon and the big box stores, because they've already done 250,000 or 250 million in pre-orders with this terminal. The problem is Intellivision and the owner, Tommy, cannot get these things built right now because of these shortages of parts. So therefore, they've got all these pre-orders and they will get these built. But now, because they've got so much money invested into this one thing and they got no revenue coming in, they need a bridge loan. That's right. The owner is somebody that I was sitting next to at Secret Knock, somebody I spent an entire night with, and somebody that offered this investment opportunity to me. And of course, I'm investing in it. It's stupid not to. I will bring this to all of you. I will have all the details Wednesday with a conference call I'm on with him and his CFO, and I will get you those details so that if you want in on Intellivision's bridge loan opportunity, you will have opportunities to do that. It's not going to be for everybody, but it certainly might be for you, and it might be a once in a lifetime opportunity, like maybe the opportunity that you would have had if you were brought Uber back when Uber started in 2009. Imagine that. This could be something that's very much the same. I will bring that opportunity to anyone that joins us for the 3-day live. You have to be there. It's not going to be recorded. And that is my sweetener that I'll give you to really kind of get you over the hump as to why you need to be at this event.